What's up, everyone? It's BigPowner, and I am back. So, I just finished watching the entire reveal for the next league, and going into this one, I was just completely like just a blank slate. Like normally, when I'm seeing the reveal for the new league, I'm like really excited. And then I really didn't like Heist. I know some people liked it, and that's great, but this was the first league in like I don't know a couple years that I haven't played the league. I started the league, played it for a couple weeks, and then I haven't played it. And this is the longest league that we've had since like the league thing started. So a really big break from the game. But I didn't enjoy it, so I'm not going to play it. Um, so I had no impressions going into this, and it's kind of been like a dead drop. This is like their first reveal, and I have to say, this is something I'm really excited about. Um, and I think that what we're getting is going to be something that everyone can be excited about because the stuff that they're revealing just customizes and the league mechanic looks cool because two things that are happening. If you guys have been playing for a little while, you guys will remember the Conqueror of the Atlas, and before that, the addition of the Elder, and originally the Shaper. So this is another one of those types of expansions. So this is a double expansion. This is another one of those double expansions. We got one of these double expansions this last year, 3 or 4 leagues ago um, before Delirium. I don't know. I think it was like 3 leagues ago. We got one of these double expansions. So this is another double expansion. We're not getting PoE 2 right now, but they are saying it is going to be this year. But honestly, like this, there's so much being released. Like I don't even. First of all, they're not going to release everything till like the day before the league launches. So we're going to get more information as it kind of plays out. But if you didn't see it or you want my take on it, that's kind of what I'm going to be covering in this video. The customization that they're adding to the game is one thing that I'm super, super excited about. The one thing that I want to say about this is now it's kind of going to be like even more boss fighting. So in the Q&A, they said that the new expansion is going to be basically like an in difficulty end game is going to basically be the equivalent of an Awakener 8 series. Hopefully, since they've had more time to do testing on it and stuff like this, we won't have like a repeat of like when they released Sears. Because like if you guys didn't play or weren't fighting Sears during Conquers the Atlas, like the boss fight was just so messed up that it was literally unplayable for a lot of players. Like it was literally like if you got the wrong glitches, like you were guaranteed to lose, and then you had wasted all this time building it up, and it was super super frustrating. I unfortunately had a bunch of instances like that early in the Conquers of the Atlas that made it like so bad that I didn't even like want to play the Sears fights because like literally like my first fight with him I spawned in and there was a black blob on top of the entry door and I just instantly died 6 times because there was literally no way for me to get out of the door. And I was like what is this? Like do I just have to have that much that much defense to actually get to the boss fight, or what is this? Um, so hopefully we don't have another scenario like that. That's the only thing that I'm kind of like, but since they did have extra time, hopefully we're gonna actually be able to like have the boss fight and it'll function properly. The really cool thing about this, if you like boss fighting, then you're like, sweet, another serious type fight that's going to be in the game. But what I'm really excited about is the customizable watch stones that are going to be a permanent addition. So that's really cool. Like you're going to have basically like special watch stones that you're going to be able to modify. They're going to be just like basically you're going to be able to use alterations and all alterations and like re-roll them. You're only going to be able to have 2 stats. They're going to be rare, blue, so like 2 modifiers, but you'll be able to change them. So that's really cool. Gives even more of like that end game progression. It's also something that's really cool for two perspectives because if you like mapping, having those is going to make your mapping more rewarding. So it gives you even more end game map farming potential. On top of that, also if you're a bosser, it's going to give you another boss to be farming on, which is kind of cool because it's going to be another progression boss fight, which means like if you're farming Sears, for instance, you're also going to be able to farm this new boss fight. Um, so the other thing that's really cool is they're adding the trees to the basically it's like a skill tree for your maps, and they're for each zone, which are gonna be able to be like customized. Each zone has like different specialties, like for instance, one that stuck out to me is there's one that increases beyond monsters. So, like, I want to do delirium farming. Obviously, like, I'm going to focus on that tree to buff up the delirium farming. There's also harvest returning, and there's a tree for the harvest, which is going to make it so that there's going to be more spawning of the harvest and stuff like that, and more rewards, which is really cool that they're bringing back harvest. And then there's going to be like a mechanic on one of the zones. So if you really like the harvest, which I think a lot of people do, obviously that's a really good route to go to get yourself really good gear, and probably going to be one of the routes that a lot of players will take, or at least like have some interest in using. The customization of it is just something that I think is really cool because everyone has like their own niche, like the things that they like. Like obviously, I'm normally tend to be more map driven, so I'm really more excited about the customization of the maps, the customized watchstones, the end game potential for farming, and the progression of the maps being more there. Obviously, like a bossers, like sweet, like I said, you're going to be progressing on like two different types of boss fights, at the same time. There's so much stuff to touch on in this. It's like actually crazy. The league mechanic actually looks really cool. The league is going to be called Ritual. It is basically like the easiest way that I would say it is it's kind of like it looks kind of like an arena that's like an auto spawn monolith or something like that, because basically you clear the area, you activate it, and it encapsulates you into an arena, and then a bunch of bosses, a bunch of creeps and even bosses spawn, and you kill them. Once you kill them, then you get access to a store. The cool thing is there's two mechanics to this from what it is, the information that they've given. The first is that you're going to have access. You're going to gain a certain number of points from the fight, the stuff that you killed, to be able to purchase stuff that's going to randomly be in the store. The cool thing is there's going to be unique items that you can only get through this mechanic, so more like exclusive league drops. The other cool thing is like, say you don't like that stuff, you're able to create a vessel, which then you can save and add as a map modifier to make the next maps rituals more rewarding, which both is going to scale the rewards of the store that you get upon completing the ritual, and it's also going to increase the currency, basically the currency that you have inside of that store. So I think that's really cool because it has progression. They did answer in the Q&A, in case you saw some of it and you didn't see all of it. They did answer that you're not going to be able to create the capsules. I forget what they called them, but basically the essence. Oh, it was essence. The essence. You're not going to be able to capture essence from a map that you've used the essence bottles on. So you're only going to be able to, like, if I didn't use essence on this one, I can save a bottle from this one, and then I can use it on the next one, but then I can't save that essence. I have to spend it. The cool thing is they also have like a progression thing. Say you didn't get enough enough uh, points or whatever for that specific store because they don't roll over, um, and you get something really good. The examples they used was like a headhunter or mirror calandra. If you can't afford it, you can choose to save that item so it rolls over, so you can potentially get more of the points to then buy that item in the future. And then each time you roll it over, it's going to take and make it so that it's slightly less expensive. So that is pretty cool. So like, you're not going to have the potential to have something that you're not going to be able to get, it's kind of going to be like a stored up thing where you're going to have to complete more attempts before you're going to be able to get it. So that's really cool. The league mechanic looks really cool. The boss progression, it's like there's just so much in it. We've got 8 more days till the league launch. They're probably going to do the same thing they've done for the last 2 leagues because they kind of changed up what they were doing. So my guess is that we're going to get sprinkled with small amounts of information as um, the next week passes, and then we'll have all of the information we're going to get, within 12 hours before the actual league launch. The balances for this league are really big because they've actually redone the ascendancies. So, well, they've completely redone the ascendancies on 3 classes: the Inquisitor, Elementalist, and Deadeye. So they've been like reworked, and then all of the other ascendancies have been modified or buffed up, basically changed. Like all the ascendancies are now changed in some way. Hopefully it's all for the better. It looks like I was most interested in the Deadeye because I've kind of been playing more like into Raider and stuff like that, but I do like the Deadeye just for the utility. But as they said in the video, a lot of those ascendancies were kind of getting outdated, especially the Deadeye, because a lot of the things that the Deadeye ascendancy offered were not really exclusive to the ascendancy. They're more being offered in the tree in other places or on items. Like the main things that you'd go for in the Deadeye was like the extra projectile, extra chain, um, and then Tailwind. So they actually changed it because like now you can just pick up Tailwind in the regular tree. So they changed the skill that used to be Tailwind. Now instead of getting 1 projectile, you get 2 projectiles. That's pretty cool. They made it so that chain now can chain off of walls, which is pretty cool. 30% chance from it to be able to chain off a wall. So you're talking like more projectiles, more chains. I'm not going to go over everything because honestly, I don't remember all of it. Those were just a few of the things that stuck out to me. Basically, what I'm telling you is there's massive changes, and if you had like plans, like if you had already chosen like I want to play this, you're going to need to wait till everything comes out because like I said, there's massive changes. There's only 2 new skill gems, but with as much stuff as is getting added, and also like all the alternate quality that got added this last league, I don't think that only having 2 new skills is that big of a deal because it seems like everything got reworked. But one's like like a water orb that basically applies different elements and can be moved around. The other one was called Trinity, which basically benefits from using multiple types of elemental damage. It- more is going to come out on that, but those are basically the 2 new skills. Um, Basically, there's just a ton of stuff coming out. New boss fight, skill trees for each zone on with permanent modifier watchstones. Um, the ascendancies getting reworked. We're having the ritual league with the it's a double expansion basically. So there's just a ton of stuff that's coming out, and honestly, I'm really excited about it. Um, Unfortunately, we're gonna have to see this stuff slowly get like bled out, because they don't like to just give us patch notes a week out and then we can like prepare ourselves. So uh, my advice on this league is you're kind of going to have to pick what it is that you really want to do, to focus on, because a lot of these things are going to take a lot of focus to really get to, because the way this new end game is sounding is it's going to be a really hard grind. Like you have to think about it like this. So you get one of these watchstones that have multiple spots, and you get like points. But this is basically like a serious fight. They're saying the final fight for this new boss is the equivalent to fighting Awakener 8 Sears. So on a zone, getting to that means like every single zone is basically going to be like this progression because you have 10 skill points that you can get on each one of the trees in each zone. So you're basically talking about like working through to an Awakener 8 Sears on multiple zones, and you need 4 drops for stones for each zone. The thing is you can move them around, so you could technically just be like, I only need 4. But if you're doing specific things for each specific one, that's a ton of that's just so much grinding. Like I don't think a lot of people, even if they play a lot, are really going to actually be grinding that much for all of those stones. I think it's going to be more of like you need to pick a zone, like what it is that you really want to farm. And that's kind of going to be like a head plan that a lot of people should be doing. Even if you plan, like, I'm going to wind up farming all of these stones and like I want to have all of my trees unlocked and stuff like that, you're still going to want to pick one thing that you're going to like, I want to focus on this because this is my favorite thing. They've got like Legion, Beyond, the harvest. That's another cool thing is that it looks like the harvest, the way that they're going to be introducing it, is going to be really cool, making it more accessible without all of that like side work of like creating the farms. And it's pretty cool. Basically, you're just gonna like when you get that encounter, there's gonna just be like different things that you can choose from to fight. So that's pretty cool. And it actually tells you your rewards, and you're going to be able to store 10 crafts. So 10 crafts really isn't very much to be able to store, but considering that it's like no longer going to be like a part of the league, um, I think that's kind of reasonable. As someone that had like like I don't know, a few thousand crafts left over from the last league, um, when Harvest was, I mean, I played that league a lot. 10 sounds like hardly nothing, but I think it's going to be more of one of those things you're going to have to like want to use it because they're not going to be as accessible. Um, they said that they didn't change how strong the stuff was. It was kind of just like now it's going to be like more um, limited accessibility, but you will have more accessibility if you focus on the skill trees that are going to make it more accessible. So that's something people could think about. The question of like whether we're going to actually be able to like get to a place where we can create some of the stuff that we used to in the other league, and I'm talking like more specifically like stuff that we had to like re-roll like multiple times, like lots of tries. I don't know if that will be realistic because we're gonna have like we're only able to store like 10 things, so maybe only like focusing on certain things. I think that those mods are going to be a lot more expensive. I think that we'll probably still see like duplication maps and stuff like really late game, which I'm excited about. But you're probably only going to be like making one if you're going for something like that, or it's going to be really expensive to like buy the crafts to try and get the certain one because you're talking about like fracturing the map mod on. So like that fracture mod, who knows how rare they're going to be, with it being like a 1 out of 3 to 5 depending on which which type you get, because it has to be the prefix, and it's either the 1 to 6 or the 1 out of 3. So 1 to 6 tries at it. So I think it'll still definitely be something that winds up getting done. Maybe less people, or it'll take longer for that many people to get there to be making those delirium maps. We'll also have to see how expensive the delirium orbs are for the league. The duplication is going to be still really big this next league. So for people that are into delving, there's going to be that demand throughout the league for people that want to do the 100% delirium maps. The heist, for the players that did really like the heist, that's not going away. They are kind of nerfing the duplication of the really good heists. Heist is going to be in it, but what they've done is if you duplicate the maps now, it's no longer going to leave all of the areas revealed. So if you get like the way they said it, like the perfect map, you're still gonna have to you're still going to have to reveal. It'll duplicate the map exactly, but you're still going to have to reveal all of the wings that you want on that map. So it's going to take more work than just like fracture and run. Um, but they felt that that was the best way to balance that. I honestly can't comment on that because, like I said, I only played the first few weeks of the Heist League. It wasn't really my league, as I know a lot of people didn't really like Heist League, but I know some people that really liked it, so they'll be happy that that mechanic's going to stay in there. And everyone likes their own thing. Like I'm not a big fan of Delve, but I'm glad that there's people that like Delve because I like to use fracture fossils. Um, and a lot of players that don't delve do, and that's the reason why delve has that currency for their end game farming if they're like delve racing or they just like farming delve. And there's going to be a wing on the map for delve that's going to give people that like delving increased soul fight, increased Nico missions, and some other cool stuff. So they have really thought about everyone on this expansion. It seems like to me. There's boss fights, mapping, buffs to like the temple of Adzol. There's a tree for that. Like those are the things that I'm not going to be focused on, but they're there for people who enjoy those things. Like I'm more happy about like Beyond or Harvest or something like that. Maybe there'll be a Blight one. They didn't cover all the stuff. They only gave a few examples, but they didn't cover what all the zones were. So we'll have to wait and see what they buffed up. Um, so but I mean, like Blight's good, like early mid league, like early first part of it, and then it kind of falls off. So I don't know if I would invest my time into buffing that. We'll kind of have to see how long. It's kind of all up in the air. We don't know how long it's going to take to, spawn the 10 points to get that stuff in there. But my initial impression is that this is gonna be a league that like if this so like up until Heist for me it was like every single league it just gets better and better, and then it was like Heist after Harvest it was just like it was so disappointing to me, and the issues with the league in the beginning just made it just kind of like drove the hammer home for me on just like I'm not playing this league, which I know it did for a lot of players. The thing that they said is that they've done a lot of the fine tuning. So what I think they're saying is like them having this extra month to really like test and work through everything is going to prevent a lot of that like early league issues that kind of drive away a lot of players, which normally it doesn't drive away a lot of players when you have like a really engaging league mechanic that everyone really likes. But I like Heist was the wrong league for that because like there's just so many players that didn't like the mechanic, and then it also not working properly just basically I think killed off a lot of the base for the league. This league I think would have been one of those leagues if it had a lot of problems at the beginning. People would still stick around because you have Harvest, you have a new major boss fight, you have all these end game rewards, you have super end game like grinding to go for. You have a cool league mechanic. You have new ascendancies, so it's going to be like all new builds. There's just so much in this league that I think it would, even if it has some issues at the startup, I think most of the fan base, unless it's like completely unplayable for like a really long time, I think most of the fan base is going to stick around for a long time on this one. Um, so I'm really stoked about it. We're gonna have to wait, obviously, to see everything about the league, but from the broadscape of everything that they've announced that they've been working on, I'm really stoked. They pushed back PoE 2, but honestly, I don't really care. PoE 2 is going to be really cool when it does come out, but what's the difference in a really good content update that adds all this stuff and just calling a big content update PoE2, which is kind of like what I think the PoE2 is going to be, is it's just going to be like a really big content update, because like the big selling points on it they've already talked about like last year. It's going to be like a new storyline, like an alternative storyline. All of your stuff's going to stay in. You're also going to be able to play the old stuff, so it's kind of like an alternate like side way to run. The stuff that I'm really looking forward to is they were talking about like morphing, where you can be like a melee and a ranged character, or like a caster and a melee. So those types of ideas I'm really excited about. Or like they're talking about the sockets becoming integrated into your character. So it's like once you have a six link on your character, you have the six link like permanently for that character for that league. So you no longer have to like six socket items. So it's like, oh, I got a new better weapon, but it's not six socketed, so I can't use it. You're gonna be able to just be like, I have six sockets, so I can equip whatever better item it is that I get. Like stuff like that. Like I'm obviously excited for, but it's not like, oh, I didn't get PoE2 and those things, and so I'm gonna ignore all this amazing content and end game stuff and early game stuff and customization and a cool looking league mechanic. um, so yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm happy to be able to be really excited about the league coming out because it's like really like I'm normally like the upbeat person that's really happy and excited about stuff, and then it was like Heist, I was like I'm not excited about this at all, and I kind of said it like it seemed like it was kind of just like really uninspired and not much work put into it. And then they said that they're like, oh, we didn't know what to do, and we were watching Heist the movie, and we're like, let's just do that. And it's like, ah, come on, like. But at least they, you know, this I can honestly say I'm really excited again about, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the new stuff that comes out about it. So, you guys will be seeing more of me. Um, as it starts to come out, we've got like 8 days till the launch. Launch is on the 15th, is I believe what it says. Like we got like 7 days and 7 days and some change. 7 days and like, or 8 days, 7 days and 12 hours or something. I don't know. It's like less than 8 days. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.